Welcome to my channel, Custom Scrapbook Design by Christy Stubbs, and welcome to another sketch sesh. So I posted a picture of the sketch at the beginning of the video. It'll be at the end of the video as well for you. And if you follow me on my Facebook page, it is or will be there as well. So on my page, on my Facebook page, every Sunday night, I do go live with a sketch that I post earlier in the day. And then later that evening, I go live and show you how to bring that sketch to life, basically. And so during the month of July and August, I am taking a little time off from the going live part of it, but I am still trying to bring you some of those sketches here on YouTube. So I very seldom choose a sketch that is a single page sketch, but for this one I did in particular only because I did not have a lot of photos for the 4th of July this year. We kind of got tied up in some other projects and didn't really quite get very many photos taken. So I just thought I would do a quick sketch and do the 4th of July. So this particular sketch looks like it has a background and then a foreground paper and then some more paper details in the corners. So I really liked this one. I kind of want to take a peek at what the photos look like on there. And of course, we're going to matte the photos and possibly matte those in red, and I feel like that will really help them pop. And maybe this center one will matte in a red and this lighter blue. So I'm using the Stars and Stripes Forever from Echo Park. I do have it available on my website. I will link it down below for you guys. Everything I use can generally be found on my website. Let's see, do I want to go the dark blue background or do we want to go this lighter blue and maybe lift them up with a red and a dark blue? I kind of like the fireworks. I think we're going to roll with that one. So that's going to be my main background. And now I need to pick a background that just a little bit is going to show. It's going to be more of a border. So if we go with this light blue, I feel like maybe a red or maybe even like the dark blue stars could possibly make that pop. Let's see what we have for a red background as well. I thought that there was a B-side of a red that maybe would work. And maybe not. Yep, there's some stars in a red as well. I do like the red, but I love that floral. That's so pretty. I hate to use all of that up in just the red. So then we've got two more pattern papers to kind of do the corners with. So maybe before we 100% settle on the background, we should come up with which papers we want to use for that as well. That also looks nice as a background. Doesn't pop as much as it does off of the red. So let's, excuse me. Let's see. So this would look nice as one of the papers in the corner. I feel like that is a good one. Also, or maybe instead, this Life, Liberty, and Happiness should be used. And let's see what other pattern maybe would work with that. Let's look at this floral pattern that's on the back of here. Gosh, that's so pretty. And it really would coordinate with that. What's on the back? Oh, the fireworks are on the back side of that. Or the fireworks in the floral, or the fireworks in the See, I feel like those next to each other just don't do each other much justice. Let's see what else we have. Just a red and white crisscross pattern and then the blue polka dots. I don't care for either of those on there. But this could potentially even be... Ooh, I do like that on there. And then the fireworks really go nicely with it. So maybe we will use the red stars like I originally had kind of planned. Do the red stars as kind of that border background, and then pull in these two to make that corner piece. Okay, I think that's gonna work. We're gonna shoot for that. Let's just check the back side of this one to make sure. Oh, okay, now I'm questioning that. All right, let's put that together because I might change my mind on those corner pieces. So we can pull everything else aside. We'll save the sticker sheet. We're going to utilize that, possibly some of the cut aparts. And then I did bring in the solid pack that goes with it as well. So we've got the light blue, the dark navy, and then the blue in between that. Then we have like our deep cranberry red, traditional red, and white for our solid pack that coordinates with it, and we'll utilize those for doing some of our matting. All right, so let's start with, because I like to utilize my paper to its fullest, and I may want to use these stars again somewhere else, I'm going to show you guys how when you want a full background of one of your papers, but you're really only going to see a 1/2 inch border all the way around, let's save the inside of this to be able to use either somewhere else on this layout or elsewhere. So let me show you how to do that. So I generally bring in my other mat for this and cut on it, and then I bring in an edge ruler and a rotary cutter. All right, and what we're going to do first off is we're going to line this up on this base mat, and then we're going to line it up so that we've got an inch border here, and then my paper is lined up at 9. So I'm going to start my cut roughly close to 10. Now, I never get this perfect. Hold your ruler down good and keep your blade up against the ruler, and I'm going to stop at 20 or close as possible to that. And then we're going to go over to the other side, and I'm just going to line up, line that lip up on the right mat here, and we're going to line up on the 21 mark. That gives us an inch here, and we're going to just repeat that same thing. Okay, and normally I probably would turn my mat, but I'm going to turn my paper, line it up on the mat again, and then we'll line it up the same way we did before, and stop as close as possible to that 1 inch mark. And do it again on this edge. And we came close to the corners. Didn't quite meet them up. Not a big deal. I just go in and trim them. They don't necessarily end up square when you trim them with the scissors. So you can see I went at a bit of an angle. So if you want it precise, you're just going to have to cut it more precise with your cutter, but I'm not good at judging where to stop when I'm getting close to the end. So this works good enough, and then yet you could square this off and have a nice square to use to add another layer to a page, or you might just use parts and pieces of this somewhere else. So that's my little trick for doing that. You could use an X-Acto blade, and then you could cut it. I mean, you could stop exactly where you want to then and get a perfect cut on that. My goal isn't necessarily to have that perfect cut, but just to have that extra paper to utilize somewhere else. So here is our frame. And since it's not a frame going on top either, you don't have to worry about those corners being perfect. So next up, we're going to cut this down. And I'm going to cut this down to 11. Boy, I was going to say 11 by 11, but I wouldn't mind having a little bit bigger. We're going to go 11 by 11 to start. So first I'm going to start by cutting off the branding strip. And then I'm going to cut an inch off. So we'll get our inch off, and then that should give us a 1/2 inch border all the way around when we cut this inch off going this way. And now you could always utilize these somewhere as well. You've got 2 1-inch strips. All right, so let's see. Yeah, that's perfect, actually. Okay, but before we hook those together, I am going to ink the edges of the firework paper. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Distress ink in Black Soot. Now, if you ink a lot, you know that when you ink, and I feel like regardless of your daubers, unless, you know, somebody out there knows of something that doesn't like shed the dauber or shed ink, I always just put a little Dollar Tree cutting mat below the surface where I'm inking, and it catches all of that and keeps the mess a little more confined so that you're not messing up your workspace and accidentally get a smudge of ink where you don't want it. So that's kind of another little trick for you today. I've been doing that for quite some time. It works quite well. All right, let's get rid of this extra mat too. We've got lots of extra stuff on the desk. Get rid of this mat. And get rid of this big ruler. And get down to just our page here. There we go. I like it. Okay. So, because we only have a little bit to hook to, we're going to want to run our tape as close to the edge as possible so that we catch our mat behind it. And then I just eyeball that. You can use a ruler if you want to, and try and get that centered as best as you can. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, now let's take a look at our other photos or our other papers that are going to be used in the corners. And I do think maybe I might switch out to these two. I like the looks of them. All right, and so these other papers are in the corner here. So we just need to determine how big we want to make that. But before we do that, I think we're going to take our photos again and lay them out on our page and get a feel for how much room they're going to take up. Now in the sketch, they actually used, I believe it's a 4x6. I couldn't get this to work as a 4x6 because of the formatting of it. So I've got a 4x4 and then I've got two 3x4s, which honestly I think are perfect size for this layout. And then our other corners are going to go over here and here. So let's find our ruler and see how big of a square we want to make. And I think we can easily go with a 5. I don't think we want to go any bigger than that. A 5x5 is going to go across roughly like that. 6x6 is going to go, there's plenty of room there. Let's check it out up here. And up here it's going to go across like that. Oh, maybe we'll go 6x6. I actually think that might work out just fine. So we're going to cut a 6-inch by 6-inch. We'll find out if I'm doing this right. I'm kind of guessing how to do it. I should have maybe tried it before we got started, but that's okay. I like to wing things, so we're going to just wing it. 6x6. And then what we're going to do is take that 6x6 and cut that in half. So you want to just line up the points and give it a good cut. Okay, so if we were just doing one paper, this is how that would look. Right? Okay. But we're going to be doing two. So now we want to go ahead and take, I'm actually going to cut that with the other trimmer. Let's cut our other 6x6 out while we've got this one down. And then I'm going to use the other trimmer to make the other cut. So we've got our 6x6. And then we're going to cut it in half, point to point. Okay. And then we're going to pull in our smaller trimmer to actually cut those. We're going to cut this triangle in half now. And we're going to cut it with the flat spot up at the top and the point right at the cut. Okay, so we're basically quartering our square. And we're actually going to have to probably quarter all of them to make the pattern go the right way. All right. Because you're going to line it up. I'm not really sure it matters on the stars which way they go, like the shooting stars. So we've got that shooting star. Or do we want it to go this way? I'm not sure I like it that way. Actually don't mind that one. And then we line up the other one like so with it. Okay, I like that. And then we'll do the same thing up in the other corner. I'm going to cut these ones so that I can tell which one is the very best way to go with it as far as getting your little fireworks going the right way, or your shooting stars. I feel like we got to cut it all. So you could easily turn this into a 2-page spread as well, because you've got the corner pieces all cut. And I think up at the top, I would swap the way the papers are. And like so, let's see. One of these goes, yeah, I kind of like the red, this one. Just the way the red shooting stars go. Okay. So I actually like that, just like that. But I think because of all the pattern and the busyness that's going on, I think it might be fun to add just a really tiny thin red border going across there before we put that down. And let's go ahead and ink all the way around those as well. I was debating whether or not to ink at the joint, but I think that we'll just go ahead and ink all the way around those and just add that extra little detail to it. And I'm going to set them right back where I want them so that I don't accidentally misplace how I had them set, because I really like the way that this is set up right now. All right, so then to do the red border, I'm going to cheat doing that. And let's see, this was like that. And then we'll get this one set, and then we'll do the red border. So there were several shades of red, so I want to see which one coordinates the best. And I think that one. So for the thin strip, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut myself a 1-inch strip. And we're going to go ahead and show you how we're going to hook this together. So this corner here goes just like that. We're just going to slip that right under there and hook this red strip down underneath. And then we'll trim off what we don't need. I feel like that's going to be the easiest way to get that little bit of red border. We'll just line that one up. And then we're going to take our little trimmer and we're going to have to trim it at this angle. So we want to line up that edge. Hopefully I get this right, but then that gives you that little angle coming up the side to make that work just right. So just make sure everything's in there nice and tight. And then in theory, We should have a really nice red border. Yeah. I like the way that kind of defines these two papers from this one a little bit better. So I like the border on there. So we're just going to repeat that process for the other side. But before we do that, I'm going to take my ink and just lightly hit that white core on that red. And then we'll go ahead and add our adhesive to the back of that and set this one in place. Perfection. Okay, so let's repeat this process. We're going to cut our red strip, and we're just going to cut a 1-inch red strip. And that just gives us enough paper to work with to be able to do that. All right, so let's get our red strip set and our corner is going to set like so. So you don't want to line up at the edge because you want to have that extra so that you can get all of that angle. Okay. Okay, that's right. I turned that and I want to make sure I get that back on there how I had it for the fireworks to be going the right way. And then line that one up. Okay, and then we'll pull in our short little trimmer again. And line up our edge. And then we're going to line up the edge on this one. And you could cut it with your scissors if you wanted to too, or as well, and that would work. Uh-oh. Got a little bit of my paper in there. I might have to recut my triangle. Shoot. Okay. I moved the top of my paper. See? Doesn't always work the way you want. So this one's going to go, let's just redo those quick. Of course, my stars aren't going to go the way I want them to now. Let's see. Yes, they are. I'm going to make it work. Let's see. We had this one down here. And then if we put that one that way, let's put it that way. The stars will just be coming down. Darn it. Okay, let's try that again. Pay attention to where your top of your triangle is. I didn't get it lined up perfectly. So those are toast. All right, let's ink these. That lines up like so, which means this edge here. This edge goes like so. Okay. So this lines up right there. The red piece should be right still. So we'll just line it up and find out. Might not be since I cut it at a weird angle. and ended up cutting the other pieces. We're gonna find out together. We may have to recut the red as well. Hopefully not. Kind of looks like that fits just right. Got lucky. All right. If my brain will work right. There we go. This direction. Okay. And so there we have that one. Now I want to just hit the edge, that white core that I mentioned I'm not a huge fan of. We're going to cover that white core up by inking. And then we are going to just go ahead and put our adhesive on there. And when I do that, I generally tend to put adhesive where the papers meet too, just to kind of hold everything together. I feel like it just works really well to give it that little bit of extra that you might need. Okay, there we go. Got it. Okay, so now we're ready just to mat our photos and add a little embellishment to this, and we are done. So I mentioned possibly double matting this one, but I think that light blue, she gets lost in there. Let's try this dark blue and see how they look on there. Or if we would just want to go with the red. I kind of like the red. Maybe we'll do red and then the dark blue behind it. All right, so let's mat this photo on the red first. That's what we're going to do with this one. And it's not going to fit in the small cutter, so let's just pull it in here. So we were 4 by 4 on this photo, so 4 1/4 isn't enough. Doesn't give me any. All right. And then let's pull in this one. I feel like we're a little thick on that one. There we go. And then let's just hit those white edges again. Even though we're going on this navy, I just feel like it helps hide that white a little bit better. And then we're gonna give this a little bit wider of a border for that one. And this is gonna be the only one that we double mat. The other ones I think are gonna be fine. With just a single mat. But I'm not sure if we're going to go with the navy or the red for the other ones. Let's take a peek at that. There we go. Get some of this up and out of the way a little bit. The family photo in the center. And then we're going to pull in the other two. Let's see. Center would be right there. Tuck them ever so slightly under there. And let's see. I think the red is going to be the way to go with that. So let's go ahead and mat both those photos. I don't think they're both going to fit on here. Nope. Nice try though. All right, so there's one. And then we'll utilize this. I generally hit all four corners with my tape just to hold it down real good. And then we're going to go ahead and get that trimmed up. Looking good. And a little bit of embellishing, maybe a little bit of journaling, of course. And then this page is going to be done. I'm liking that. This is a fun little sketch. I like this technique in the corner. Like I said, you could easily turn this into a 2-page spread and just replicate this and maybe even swap your corners. I think that that would be a great use of this sketch. And by going corner to corner, what I'm looking at is I'm lining up these corners on the matting with the line here, because that should center it and kind of keeping the same distance between it. So it theoretically should center the photo. And I kind of, rather than putting them straight, you guys know I don't do the straight thing real well. I kind of like to set things off center and cattywampus just a little bit. So I think we will angle those. And so I'm trying to keep my angle here and here and here the same. Okay, I like it. All right, so now in the sketch they just added some details. There was some like little dots going across here. Let's look at our sticker sheet and see what kind of fun things we have to utilize there. And maybe this was a moot point and I didn't need to put this there. We could put this border going along there, but it'll run into the photo, so I'm not sure I love the thought of that. I think instead we might actually, my thought is not working how I wanted it to, so I'm not sure. It's not at all working where I thought I was going to put it, but it will work really nicely along the bottom of this photo. So I think we'll just utilize it there. And I just lined it up corner to corner with my photo. I think we're going to skip the sketch where it had all the dots going across there. We could have used this, but I felt like it was going to run into the border, and I really don't like that idea all that well. I'm going to go with this Happy 4th of July here, because I think that that's kind of cute. And we're just going to put this on that dark blue because I think that is a good spot for it. I'm not lifting anything up on foam. I've been doing a lot of foam lately, and I feel like I am getting really thick with my books. And so I'm trying not to use as much of it. But you could very easily put some of these stickers up on foam, and they'd be super cute. And I don't know, I feel like they should almost... I'm going to put them flat. They'd be cute up on the foam though, so that would be an idea for you. I don't think I want to use the flower. I think maybe we'll just add a couple of the fireworks to it and call it good. Oh, I do like these little firecrackers here too. We could just shoot those right up the outside there. One there. And I think, yep, there's another one. I think we'll just pull that one in over here. Firecracker there. Another, I don't know if I love that one. Maybe this one. Another, I'm going to put it up there. And then, let's see. We're going to add, so we've got Happy 4th of July. Let's add God Bless America, just right here. And then we will, I think, be done. Maybe a couple stars added to the edge of the photos here. All right, I think we're gonna call it. I think that is enough. It's kind of busy as it is. Got some great photos on there, great 4th of July layout for you. So thanks again for watching. Be sure to follow my Facebook page. I will link it down below. When I start back up on my live Sunday night sketch sessions, you can catch me there. I do upload all the videos here to YouTube as well, so you can always watch them here as well. Be sure to share my channel with all your friends. I'm really working hard to grow my community. I appreciate your support. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. How was your 4th of July? Let me know if there's anything in particular you would like to see me create, or if there's a sketch you want me to use. I'm happy to take any suggestions as well. So be sure to leave a comment, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I hope you find a little time to do something creative within your own space today. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.